In a few days, the year will change, and millions of people will tell themselves the same lie. They'll say, this year will be different, not because they changed anything, but because the calendar did. By February, most of them will be right back where they started. Same habits, same excuses, same life. Not because they're lazy, but because nobody ever told them what actually needs to change. This video isn't motivation, it's a reality check. If you're here to feel good for 5 minutes, leave. But if you want this year to stop repeating itself, stay. Because what you're about to hear isn't comfortable, but it works. Every year, New Year arrives with the same promise. A clean slate, a reset, a chance to finally become the person you've been telling yourself you'll be next year. The calendar flips, and suddenly it feels like the past no longer matters. The mistakes belong to an older version of you. The bad habits feel temporary. The future feels lighter. But this feeling is an illusion. The calendar doesn't change behavior. It only changes mood. And moods are dangerous things to build a life on. They feel powerful, but they don't last. That burst of clarity you feel in late December fades quickly once routine, stress, and boredom return. That's why so many people feel unstoppable on January 1st and completely stuck by February. The truth is uncomfortable, but necessary. If nothing changed during the last year, the date itself won't change anything now. Time doesn't fix discipline. Time doesn't create courage. Time only reveals patterns. It shows you what you avoid, what you delay, what you keep promising yourself you'll handle later. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they expect a moment to save them. They wait for a magical reset instead of taking responsibility in the present. New Year becomes a psychological escape, a way to delay action while still feeling hopeful. Real change doesn't start when the year changes. It starts when denial ends. When you stop pretending that motivation will appear on schedule and accept that progress requires action before you feel ready. Until then, every new year will feel exciting for a few weeks and disappointing for the rest. Most people don't quit loudly. They don't announce it. They don't consciously give up on their goals. They simply stop showing up, quietly, gradually, almost unnoticed. One missed day turns into two turns into a week, and eventually the goal disappears without a clear ending. This happens for one reason. People build their plans on motivation instead of systems. Motivation is emotional, it's high energy, it feels powerful in the beginning, but it's unstable. It depends on mood, environment, and external validation. When life gets busy, boring, or uncomfortable, motivation disappears. And when motivation disappears, so does consistency. Discipline is the opposite. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask if the conditions are perfect. It operates quietly in the background, especially when nobody's watching. That's why discipline looks boring from the outside. It doesn't come with dramatic moments. It comes with repetition. People quit because they don't expect boredom. They expect progress to feel rewarding every day. But growth often feels dull, frustrating, and slow. When reality doesn't match the fantasy they had in their head, they assume something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. This is the process. The ones who succeed aren't more motivated. They're more prepared for discomfort. They expect the excitement to fade. They expect resistance, and they continue anyway. Quitting isn't a single decision. It's the result of many small compromises. Discipline prevents those compromises from piling up. That's why it matters more than talent, intelligence, or luck. Motivation starts the journey, discipline finishes it. Most people reset their life the wrong way. They try to change everything at once. New routines, new goals, new identity. It sounds ambitious, but it's fragile. When everything is important, nothing is sustainable. The real reset is smaller than you think. Instead of promising yourself a perfect version of your life, choose one non-negotiable action. One habit so simple that skipping it feels dishonest. Something you can do even on bad days, especially on bad days. This might be one focused hour of work, one workout, one page written, one deliberate decision made without distraction. The size doesn't matter. The consistency does. Progress doesn't come from intensity. It comes from staying in the game long enough for results to compound. Small actions repeated daily beat massive efforts done occasionally. Lowering the bar isn't weakness, it's strategy. It removes the excuse of waiting for the perfect moment. It forces action when conditions are average, not ideal. Most people fail because they set rules they can't realistically follow. Then they break them and lose trust in themselves. A simple system builds confidence instead of draining it. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to become reliable to yourself. When you keep promises, even small ones, your identity starts to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. That's the real reset, not a dramatic transformation, a quiet commitment that survives boredom, stress, and bad days. If you're still here, you're not looking for motivation, you're looking for consistency. Subscribe, not for hype, but because this channel exists to keep you from drifting back to comfort when things get boring. As long as you're here, I won't let you quit quietly. Goals are temporary, identity is permanent. That's why most goals fail. They don't change how you see yourself. If you believe you're inconsistent, every setback becomes proof. If you believe you're disciplined, setbacks become temporary obstacles, not definitions. Identity decides how you interpret failure. Stop asking what you want this year. Start asking who you refuse to be anymore. That question forces honesty. Not "I want success," but "I don't quit when progress is slow." Not "I want discipline," but "I do what I said I would do." When behavior becomes part of identity, effort decreases. You don't rely on motivation. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. This is why some people stay consistent without hype. They're not forcing themselves. They're being themselves. Identity isn't changed by words, it's changed by evidence. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Every skipped commitment votes against it. The year doesn't define you. Your actions do. And the good news is, identity can be rewritten. Slowly, deliberately, honestly. If you want this year to be different, don't chase a new life. Build a new standard, one action, repeated. Long enough that quitting feels foreign.